So during my busy weekend at Insomnia 72, I got a chance to play the Stellar Blade demo. And I'll let you in on something. It's not exactly the game I thought it was going to be. It's so much better for a multitude of reasons. To give a quick summary before we jump in and talk about my impressions on the game, you can play this right now on PlayStation. It's absolutely free, and all of the demo's progress transfers over to the full game. So if you want to go and check this out in future, you can do. Please, can we get more of these games doing demos before like full launches, because it really allows you to get a feel of the game and whether or not you want to purchase it. But let's talk more about Stellar Blade. It takes place right at the start of the game. It's roughly an hour and a half to like maybe a little bit longer depending on what you do, and it includes a great amount of content for the opening portion of the game. There's a boss fight to finish out the demo, there's an explorable area, there's also a boss challenging mode which has some additional content, especially with going up against a boss that you can keep replaying, and obviously there's a lot of extra content, if you know what I mean. But is it actually good? Yes, but it depends. Stellar Blade does not 100% fit into a specific game box. It's a mesh between many elements of different genres, especially being the Souls-like genre with the lock-on and the bosses and the enemies that you'll be going up against. But then it's also quite heavy on action combat as well, being that there's combos that you can do, it's very fluid, and it feels like Bayonetta or DMC from what I played before, but they don't actually that's the genre defining thing. They kind of bleed into one another, which makes it quite unique. It has a lot of the same structure and design of Souls-likes, going from bonfire to bonfire, but in this specific instance, we're going from like vending machine area to vending machine area, using this to upgrade Eve's weapons, like the skills, replenish your health items, that type of stuff. And then you culminate with like a boss in a specific area that stops progression. It kind of screams Souls-like, right? But the key deviation is in combat. There's combat timings, there's directional dodging, there's timed dodges, there's beta skills. Dodge rolling isn't really a thing, and there's this distinct rhythm which isn't like many other games that I've played. The cool thing about the combo system is that you can get, hold, like do square, 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 or square, triangle, square. It's a very fluid system, and they've got the combos in the skill tree that you can do. The directional dodging is, for example, the enemy will glow blue when you get a specific upgrade, which will allow you to blink behind them to do extra damage. There's also another version where if the enemy glows like pink and they do like this little thing, you can dodge away from them and are able to get some additional damage out. There isn't necessarily a big focus on dodge rolling. Like, I tried to dodge how I would in other games when some things are attacking me, but if you actually delay the dodge and you hit it on the time of the enemy's attack, you'll get like a perfect dodge. You can also then combine that with the parrying as well. All of these combat elements combine together to make it a really addictive gameplay, but it's incredibly frustrating. But not in the same way that a Souls-like is frustrating. Allow me to explain. When everything connects and you time your dodges, your parries, and your combos, it feels like a rhythm game, like Dance Dance Revolution or a Guitar Hero game. And when you die, or you get hit, or you fail to time something correctly, the same feeling is like a rhythm game. Usually when I die in a Souls-like game, I have the same feeling, pain and regret. It's not punishing the same way that many other Souls-like games are, so that's why it feels more like an action game in its combat. And I actively wanted to learn boss patterns so I could parry and combine my movesets together to punish the boss. It felt nice whenever I would time like 4 parries in a row into like a dodge and then be able to blink behind the boss to be able to do damage to them. It is really satisfying when you nail everything, and obviously frustrating when you don't, but not to the point where you don't want to play the game anymore. You're like, oh crap, I died, let's just go at it again. That's how I felt playing. It's very clear that the game wants you to learn these systems, and the big difference will be the dodge mechanic. The dodge roll is so synonymous with a lot of Souls-like games, And here you are quite slow. You end up standing still a lot of the time, waiting for the boss to do things to be able to then counter them. And then the dodges will play into that. Rather than being a stamina system, it's more so you have to time everything that you're doing, which I quite enjoyed. Combat slaps, and it's a dance that I am so excited to play in the full game. But let's actually talk about some of the other things within the demo itself. The opening to Stellar Blade is quite epic. There's a whole bunch of explosions and battles happening in space as you drop pod down to Earth to be able to repel back the Nativa. And as you crash, there's obviously a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then you get pulled out of the pod, and we get some ludicrous fan service, which everybody knows we're playing this game for the fan service. That's why they're doing it. They're not playing it because it's like this cool action game. They want to see hot lady butt. That's why they're doing this. And I am one of them. The game uses this open action sequence to teach you about the controls and how the game plays. And as I've said in the combat section, it will take you a few minutes to kind of understand what you need to do, and something will, I think, click as you play more in the game. Then we go further forward and we see more members of the airborne squadrons, and they get absolutely wasted by a ship that lands, and this crazy brute monster comes out and you have to fight them. And this is where I was like, oh god, am I going to be able to beat it? But I think I died in this specific instance. You'd probably be able to beat them if you play through on a repeat run, so you understand the combat system. But then that happens, and then the Alpha Nativa shows up and absolutely wrecks you and your partner. She has to do the sacrifice play, no, Mr. President, I don't want you to kill Eve. And then you think it's all over, and Adam comes up and gets you to safety. My biggest concern from the game is going to be its narrative. Are they going to keep us engaged for 20 hours, 30 hours, however long it is? I don't necessarily think this will be a particularly long game, but I could be surprised if it goes into the 30+ hour region. They really need to make some compelling characters. I don't know what they're planning on doing with that, because it's only the first hour or so of the game. But we do get to have a little bit of back and forth dialogue and open up some story sequences through the first level in the ruined city of Eidos 7. There's all these little lore tab things that you can pick up and read into as well. And we get a little bit of dialogue between Adam and Eve throughout the course of your playtime in the demo. Once again, it's too early to tell, but the first level that you are playing in feels very linear, and it feels like a teachable area for some of the mechanics in the game, like the bonfire system and how to upgrade skills, that type of stuff. It doesn't necessarily feel as quite expansive, so maybe there'll be other areas that we go to that are that way and open up a little bit more within the linear design. And I think that's obviously something that I would want to see a little bit more. Whether or not it holds up, I don't necessarily know, but it was fairly decent. The boss fight that we did have was awesome. I really enjoyed I think it's Abaddon that you fight at the end of the demo. And speaking of a second boss, you get to fight one in the boss challenge after you complete the demo. So you get to go in there and you can practice against that. It's repeatable. You can try and do it no hit. You can try and learn the combat system on repeat. And I spent about 20 minutes trying to beat that boss and trying to learn what I was doing in there, amongst other things. Because if you look at the outfit she's wearing in that area, oh boy, this game is going to be screenshotted to high heaven, and understandably so. The main character is quite attractive, so we will see. My three main takeaways from the demo are: the combat slaps. It's awesome. Can't wait to play more of it and see how the enemy variety changes. More of the bosses, because I love a good action game where it's not punishing and there's loads of bosses as well. Not the same as a Souls-like, even though I love those as well. I want to play more of them. And then the other two takeaways are that the story looks like it could have some compelling action moments, and if it gets me invested, then I'll be really interested to see how it plays out. And the last one is that the performance of the demo, which I haven't really spoken on too much, was awesome. I played on the balance mode, which allowed for, I think it was at least 60, because I didn't feel that 30 FPS when you've like seen the difference. You can kind of tell. I didn't play on the performance or the graphics mode, which has like ray tracing and stuff on, because the game visually looked awesome. I can't wait to see the different modes and to try them out when the full game launches, because they did one thing with the balance mode, which was there wasn't this like smear on the screen which made things look great but also not do so well. I think they try and do that with the performance mode as well sometimes, but it ran at least at like 1440p 60 FPS. I don't know, I think it's a 4K mode, which the balanced one is in. I didn't mess around with them too much because I wanted to just get the demo done and then like do a full review on the game in future. But yeah, the performance mode, I think this is going to do really well. How it holds up with all the stuff going on at launch, we won't really know until we have, but definitely check out Stellar Blade. You can play it for free now on the PlayStation Store, and check it out for yourself. Your save data carries over. I have some very good impressions on the game so far. This could be a potential banger, so I really want to play it on April 26th. So let me know if you played the demo down in the comments section, and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content. And this has been It's Jimbo. I'll see you guys next time.